closer to.
1, 2.
Hi, I'm Lou, another episode of My Car Story. I'm here with Noel. Noel, what's your last name?
Noel Hastalis.
Hastalis, and today we're here in sunny Elmhurst, Illinois at a car show, and I'm going to grab the camera as I usually do. Danny, thank you so much. And let me grab this. Noel, tell me first of all, let's start with this. There we go.
It's the Chrysler 300 Club International logo. Our club is about 800 members, including some internationally in Scandinavia, Germany, Italy, France, and Australia and New Zealand.
Wow. So with that being said, come on alongside me. Let's get our featured event car here. And wow, this is a beautiful long car. First of all, what is it?
It's a 1960 Chrysler 300F.
Okay. And the F, tell me a little bit about the lettering.
Chrysler started with their 300 in 1955. It was the first 300 horsepower production sedan, so hence there's meaning to the 300. Starting in 56, they maintained the 300, but they started with the lettering. So 56 was the 300B, and then they went to C, D, E, F was the 1960 version. G, H, J, and K, and L was the final one in 1965. The club also recognizes the Hearst Chrysler 300, which was a 1970 model.
So this is really, really unique. Let me just take one more shot of the front of that coming at you. That's a lot in your rearview mirror.
It sure is.
So let's step over here. So first of all, when did you buy it? What year?
I bought it in 2005. My cousin had a connection who called him on it, and we found it in a garage in Lincoln Park. A couple fellas had bought it, and it was parked. There was about a foot of snow outside in the alley, so we couldn't really drive it, but made the deal and went back and picked it up that April.
Wow. So you said something to me a little earlier when we were talking about your car and getting some details. This is the second love of your life. And why do you say that about this car? By the way, tell me about, just before we go into that, tell me about the hood scoop here.
Yes, this is louvered hood. It's a 1960 design feature only, Chrysler 300 only. They're non-functional, but it was a sweet design feature.
So tell me why this is the second love of your life.
Well, I love driving it. I drove it over 10,000 miles last year, drove it to Mystic, Connecticut in June, as well as St. Paul, Minnesota for the Back to the 50 show, and to White Sands, New Mexico last September, 3,200 mile trip. Wow. It's a wonderful road car. The suspension on these is about a 40% stiffer suspension than you'll find on the standard Chrysler fare of the day. And with the torsion bar heavy duty suspension on this car, driving it through the mountains and just out on the highway, drive it all day long and never get tired.
And you were telling me the nice line here across the side.
Yes, the feature line, the 1960 is the only one where you'll see
jump in there.
The feature line. It starts right here at the back of the boomerang taillight and goes all the way through the front of the car.
And you were sharing too that the hot rodders love the boomerang taillight.
Yeah, boomerang taillights, you'll see them on a number of vintage hot rods. They're just very popular.
And is that, how many years did they have the boomerang taillights?
The boomerang taillights is a 1960 only, although on the Chrysler 61 station wagons, they still had these lights. They use the same lights for 2 years on the wagons only.
Okay. And we got the chrome handle. What did you call this?
This is, Chrysler called this the flight swept deck lid, but we call it the toilet seat.
Okay. The toilet seat.
Stuck the hubcap onto the trunk lid.
And some of the beautiful badging and the rear tail lights and the bumperettes here that you could see that actually have a nice kind of curvature that almost looks like the tail lights. Let's get an overall shot of the back of that. That looks great. Great fin there. Let's open up the door, take a look at the inside. And there's a lot of interior here to look at. Tell me about, right off the bat, we've got 300.
Right, you'll see the 300 emblems on each of the front doors. And the stainless inserts, this is a Chrysler 300 feature only, and that appeared on the 1960 and 61 Chrysler 300s.
And show me kind of the cool feature on the seats while we're right here. Show me what's happening.
The seats swiveled out.
They
started
seats.
in 59, but 60 and 61 had the swivel buckets.
And let me just show you, this car has back buckets, as you could see. Oops, excuse me.
Back buckets, and you have the rear console for storage as well as the front console.
And for a car this large, you were sharing with me that we got a back speaker back there.
Sure.
That you were sharing with me that they didn't. They had a little problem with that because it seemed like not enough seats for a car this large. Was that accurate?
Right. 1960, all the full-size cars fit 6 people. They had bench seats front and rear. And this they called the banker's hot rod because it started at $5,411 and it only sat 4 people.
The banker's hot rod.
Banker's hot rod.
Yeah, let's pull that piece out so I can show that for just a second. We'll put that right on the front seat there. These are some people like all the details, and for those of you who do, you can pause on this at any time and get some of those details. But let's go right to the interior. And you were sharing with me the car originally was what color?
This car was originally Toreador red, which was a fairly rare color production, but prior owner out in California wanted a white car, so he painted it white and put white leather interior. The interior pattern is the same, but he changed it to white from the standard tan that it originally had. You're looking at the Astrodome dash. It has a 150 mile an hour speedometer, which was a Chrysler 300 only feature. The dash is similar on all the other Chrysler 300s, but it ran to 120 miles an hour.
Wow.
It has electroluminescent lighting, which means that it's high voltage lighting the dial in there, the speedometer and the gauges. There are no light bulbs, and it was very state-of-the-art back then. It's common in cars of today.
It really looks pretty neat. I mean, to have that dashboard like that, it felt very rocket-like, I'm sure.
Well, it was the heart of the space age with us and the Russians, you know.
At that time frame.
Space wars, for sure.
And we've got the tack right there in the center.
And the power window controls right below that.
Power window controls.
And the ashtray, which was well used. Not by me.
We've got the deck as well. I'm just noticing, like, if you look at that steering wheel, it's got a clear piece through it.
Translucent.
Translucent. Really cool.
Yes.
Let's.
And the transmission. The power, the torque flight transmission was Chrysler's 3-speed automatic. It was heavy duty for this. It's got first, second, third, neutral, reverse, and then left turn, right turn.
So no turn stock on the
stock on the column.
Cool. Let's open the hood.
Okay.
And this is quite unique.
Yes, it is. This is the heart of the beast.
Tell me
the heart of the brute. We call
here.
these the beautiful brutes of the club.
You really don't see.
This is a 413 cubic inch, 375 horsepower. It's got hydraulic lifters, but it's got the cast aluminum 30-inch cross ram manifold. So this carburetor is feeding this head, this carb is feeding that head. The linkage operates both Carter AFB 4-barrel carbs together. And when you really get on it, listening to all 8 of those barrels opening up, it's a great sound, a great feeling.
Well, speaking of that great sound, why don't we start it and hear a little bit about what this sounds like. What a unique intake manifold. Let me get a little exhaust note here. Sounds good. Let's shut that off, Noel. That sounds good. And let's take one more look at that unique intake. We've got beautiful sun on that as well, so people can kind of take that in. And I really appreciate all the history you shared with the car. Let me get this. I think I've gotten this, but I just want to make sure. A lot of room in there too. So you can see, let's shut the hood and have you stand right next to it. Noel, thanks for being on My Car Story.
Well, my pleasure. Thank you very much.